Video games. A dynamic, engaging, and most importantly, fun way for people to spend their free time. Whether you're more interested in competitive online shooters or simple puzzle games, the plethora of options when it comes to games likely has something that falls into your interests. However, a dark aura surrounds gaming spaces and communities, and anyone who has spent a serious amount of time either playing online games or following popular gamers online can tell you that the gaming community has some serious issues with racism and misogyny.
Back when I was younger, I played a lot of Halo games. Played COD for like 3 months, but then gave up on it because people were not kind. Right now, I play a lot of Destiny, and that's the only online game I play a lot of right now.
Generally, the only ones that I actually play are TF2 and sometimes Splatoon.
Well, the first one I played was definitely TF2, and I found that most people in TF2 were actually like pretty friendly. Now I play Rainbow Six Siege. Now it's sort of a mixed bag. Like there's a lot of cool people in Rainbow Six, but there's also a lot of people who get upset.
Usually a lot of massive online multiplayer games.
I play Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege. Those are my two big main ones right now.
Overwatch sometimes, Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if this counts, but I play Minecraft.
Absolutely. I have been playing games, online games for 7 years, and I have had games where I played with women. And almost every single time I have games where I play with women, I hear other guys being complete assholes, being rude, being derogatory.
Misogyny, definitely. I have definitely encountered people who have essentially bullied women out of servers, but
I feel like it depends not only on the game, but on the person you're speaking with. The friends who you're interacting with online on the other side, they do have this side of anonymity, and that can make a problem. It can make it really, really dangerous for people.
I'd say that there's an issue, but it's not like, I don't think it's the primary issue. I think the primary issue is like just
Normal toxicity?
Normal toxicity, and then I think racism and misogyny sort of stem off from that.
Certainly, I feel like I've come across players who are racist or misogynist, and it's always often just one player, and it almost always affects the whole team, which is kind of a neat little metaphor for how one bad racist person can affect a whole entire group just by spreading negativity and false stereotypes. And then the whole entire community of that game now gets a bad stigma because just a few people did something bad.
I feel like a lot of the comments you hear are either jokes or facetious and or sarcastic, and a lot of the times those are taken out of context to mean real racism or misogyny, but occasionally you do encounter such cases that is absolutely the case where someone is just flat out racist, but I'd say that's very rare.
Players often spout racist comments in the text or voice chat, and women playing video games are often harassed to the point of leaving a match, or even quitting a game altogether, simply because men believe that video games are their space. As competitive online games such as Overwatch and Fortnite, both rated T for teen, find popularity with both adults and kids, we must be careful of how these opinions affect them. So what causes these beliefs? And why do they seem to be amplified by the spaces they appear in?
A lot of it's just anonymity. The fact that you can have a username that has no way of, connected to your own lets you kind of have this anonymous space where unfortunately things like racism, sexism kind of is bred a little bit, where people can say these things with no repercussions for the most part. So yes, sometimes they can get banned and things, but for the most part these types of places are not as well regulated kind of thing, so it leads to this type of culture, and especially with kind of early on with gaming being much more of a male dominated, just kind of it just started off as more males were playing it, so it became more of a male thing.
It's especially perceived that way.
Yes.
As today.
And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of great like women out there who want to play video games, but in this world where like there's a lot of guys out there who just have this belief,
And they want to keep it that way.
yeah.
I think there's roots going far back in video games about how women are portrayed in game, and even though some game companies are trying to make amends for that and change how women are portrayed in games, you do see some pushback from players that are used to a different, whether outfitter or how women are treated in games, that do not like the new change in what's to come. And a lot of that will come out on like Twitter or YouTube, and it's hard to not see those comments.
So why do men have such a strong belief that gaming is their territory? It didn't always used to be this way. In fact, video games used to be a relatively unisex activity. Pong, one of the earliest arcade games and later advertised as a family game on the home console, found popularity with all audiences. This all shifted in the 90s, however, when advertisers took a stance and began advertising exclusively to men and young boys. It didn't help that many games began heavily sexualizing female characters, further alienating women from new games. That brings us to today, where gaming is viewed by gamers and others alike staunchly as a male activity, even if it is not seen as manly. Even this view, however, remains incorrect, as the Entertainment Software Association's yearly study into the video game industry found that 45% of those who identified as gamers in 2017 were women. Many male gamers deny their legitimacy, however, and make jokes about true gamer girls being rare and impressive finds. Online games are also infamous for the abundance of racist and homophobic comments and slurs that can be heard in just a couple games. The unfortunate truth is that the anonymity of the spaces removes the fear of punishment and often brings out the worst in people, even if they only look at their comments as a harmless joke. These are the kinds of behaviors I fear will be pushed onto young members of the community and brand video games as an unsafe place where these beliefs thrive. The effects of these beliefs reach beyond the game itself as well. Many popular online gamers have been called out for racist comments, and it is obvious that the followers of the content enjoy it. A specific example that comes to mind is a YouTuber by the name of Shirako, who uploaded a video of the game Red Dead Redemption 2 entitled Beating Up Annoying Feminist, in which he proceeded to beat a female suffragette to unconsciousness. The game is set in 1899, 2 decades before women would get the right to vote. The video garnered millions of views, and after significant backlash, YouTube removed it from the site. This did not stop Shirako, however, who continued to upload videos in the style, such as dropping feminist to hell and killing the devil, and annoying feminist fed to alligator. The viewers could not get enough. Another example is the popular gaming YouTuber PewDiePie, who had long held the title for the most subscribers on YouTube, with over 95 million subscribers currently. He has faced much controversy in the past couple years regarding a series of anti-Semitic videos, in which he briefly showed clips of Adolf Hitler and other Nazi imagery, as well as showing a video of 2 men he hired on a freelancer site, holding up a sign reading, "Death to all Jews." More recently, PewDiePie has popularized the feud between him and the YouTube account of the Indian Bollywood music label T-Series, which has since overtaken the Swedish YouTuber in subscribers. He then popularized the phrase, "Subscribe to PewDiePie," requesting that his fans spread the news, post signs, and do anything to help him bolster his sub count. This phrase may have started off as innocuous, but the overused phrase has since turned into something else. It has been used to deface a World War II memorial in Brooklyn, and has been cited in numerous online hacking pranks. Most recently, and most shocking, the phrase was spoken on a live stream by the shooter responsible for the massacres at the mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, moments before the shooting began. All PewDiePie has said on the subject of his phrase being taken out of context is, "There's a part of this that I really, really don't like, and it's a shame because it isn't the vast majority of people. But sometimes you see comments on live streams like, F Indians. It's really distasteful, unnecessary comments. I've obviously made jokes about Indians, but I make jokes about all countries, and this is not what I'm about." Many other YouTubers have called for him to disavow the meme, but a month later, he still hasn't changed his stance. So what actions can be taken to solve this problem? It is an issue deeply rooted in the history of the industry, but luckily some developers are taking steps to combat this behavior. Take, for example, my favorite online game, Rainbow Six Siege. Recently, the game has implemented an automatic ban system that detects the use of slurs in the game's text chat, and automatically suspends players for using offensive language. Other games, such as Overwatch, have introduced a commendation system, where you can reward teammates for good behavior. But some believe that positive reinforcement is likely not going to be enough solution to the problem.
I mean, the platform, like a lot of platforms out there, like Twitch, kind of right now, or YouTube, have a lot of gaming footage, that kind of thing, and unfortunately, sometimes the like more prominent, like sexist, racist kind of things get out there, like PewDiePie.
PewDiePie's a great example. We'll be talking about PewDiePie in this documentary a whole lot.
Yeah. So PewDiePie, for example, he says and does things every now and then that gain like national attention that really kind of put a spotlight in the wrong way on the gaming community.
Yes.
And I think that those sites themselves have kind of a responsibility to kind of help monitor this, kind of help tone I can't really say censor because I'm very much like free speech and everything.
It's that's why it's such a tough argument to make, because you can't argue that the people who are doing this stuff should be censored because that's going too far. But then what's the medium there? It's tough to figure out how you stop that behavior.
I do find what Rainbow Six Siege did with the auto ban is an effective first step and kind of sets a tone for a no tolerance policy. I believe after about 6 months of that, it's become more of a moderated issue.
There was definitely some backlash to it when it first came out.
Certainly, by players who were being banned, right? But I think it does set the tone that they want to have a good, friendly, fun game and not one where it's full of swears and slurs. So I think that can be an effective first step. What Blizzard has done with different words that their chat will auto-filter to switch it to something that's funnier, like, hey guys, gotta go, my dad's calling me down for dinner. I think humor is also another effective way of tackling that. There's no perfect science, but I think as close to a hard, strict, maybe zero tolerance policy for that is the best way. Because when you have older gamers that might use those language, it does affect the younger folk that might play those games and pick up subconsciously on that language. So cutting it out from the root is probably the best way to go about fixing it.
But I think the biggest thing is just getting the generation of younger kids to start, like especially like in terms of like the sexism argument, getting more girls to play video games kind of thing, having it just become more of a normal thing rather than it being like something that like guys constantly criticize people for and stuff like that. I mean, I've
make it seem less like a guy thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it's
Anyone
not a guy thing or a girl thing. It's just a thing that people like to do, and it's unfortunate that it's perceived as one thing over the other. It's kind of like honestly like what the STEM is going through right now, where they're trying to get more and more women into the maths and sciences, because before they were kind of perceived as like, oh, this is what the guys do and the girls do more of the arts and the like literature and that kind of stuff. Whereas now, like, we're really making a push for like getting people in computer science and math and or women in math and all that, or those initiatives. So it's the same thing, where it's just you have to get more people at a younger age playing video games, and I think that will normalize things a lot more for everybody across the board.
We need to step up and recognize the issues facing our online communities, so that games can feel like a safe place for anyone who might want to give them a try.